the ANOM, with law enforcement agencies in other countries joining in later. The ANOM service was widely used by criminals, but instead of providing secure communication, it was actually designed to allow law enforcement to monitor all communications. The information collected in that sting operation resulted in the arrest of more than 800 suspects, allegedly involved in criminal activity, in 16 countries. The FBI named the operation Operation Trojan Shield, and the AFP named it Operation Ironside. The shutdown of the Canadian secure messaging company Phantom Secure in March 2018 left international criminals in need of an alternative system for secure communication. Around the same time, the San Diego FBI branch had been working with an individual who had been developing a next-generation encrypted device for use by criminal networks. The person was facing charges and cooperated with the FBI in exchange for a reduced sentence. The individual offered to develop ANOM and then distribute it to criminals through their existing networks. The first communication devices with ANOM were offered by this informant to 3 former distributors of Phantom Secure in October 2018. The FBI also negotiated with a third country to set up a communication interception, but based on a court order that allowed passing the information back to the FBI. Since October 2019, ANOM communications have been passed on to the FBI from this third country. The ANOM devices consisted of a messaging app running on smartphones that had been specially modified to disable normal functions such as voice telephony, email, or location services. After checking that normal functionality was disabled, the messaging apps then communicated with one another via supposedly secure proxy servers, which then copied all messages sent to servers controlled by the FBI. The FBI could then decrypt the messages with a private key associated with the message, without ever needing remote access to the devices. The devices also had a fixed identification number assigned to each user, allowing messages from the same user to be connected to each other. There were about 50 devices distributed in Australia for beta testing from October 2018. The intercepted communications showed that every device was used for criminal activities, primarily being used by organized criminal gangs. Use of the app spread through word of mouth, and was also encouraged by undercover agents. Former drug trafficker Hakan Ayik was identified as someone who was trusted and was going to be able to successfully distribute this platform, and without his knowledge was encouraged by undercover agents to use and sell the devices on the black market, further expanding its use. After users of the devices requested smaller and newer phones, new devices were designed and sold. After a slow start, the rate of distribution of ANOM increased from mid-2019. By October 2019, there were several hundred users. By May 2021, there had been 11,800 devices with ANOM installed, of which about 9,000 were in use. New Zealand had 57 users of the ANOM communication system. The Swedish police had access to conversations from 1,600 users, of which they focused their surveillance on 600 users. Europol stated 27 million messages were collected from ANOM devices across over 100 countries. In March 2021, an anonymous WordPress user Can You Guess 67 declared the app as being a scam, exposing connections to Google servers in companies within Australia and the United States, which are part of the Five Eyes intelligence alliance. Additionally, a warrant to access a server in an undisclosed country expired on 7 June. The sting operation culminated in search warrants that were executed simultaneously around the globe on 8 June 2021. The background to the sting operation and its transnational nature was revealed following the execution of the search warrants. Over 800 people were arrested in 16 countries. Among the arrested people were alleged members of Australian-based Italian mafia, Albanian organized crime, outlaw motorcycle gangs, drug syndicates and other crime groups. In the European Union, arrests were coordinated through Europol. Arrests were also made in the United Kingdom, although the National Crime Agency was unwilling to provide details about the number arrested. In Sweden, 155 people were arrested as part of the operation on 7 June. The seized evidence included almost 40 tons of drugs, 250 guns, 55 luxury cars and more than $48 million in various currencies and cryptocurrencies. In Australia alone, 224 people were arrested on 526 total charges. In New Zealand, 35 people were arrested and faced a total of 900 charges. Police seized $3.7 million in assets, including 14 vehicles, drugs, firearms and more than $1 million in cash. Over the course of the 3 years, more than 9,000 police officers across 18 countries were involved in the sting operation. Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison said that the sting oper